I'm going to talk you into a middle split in one session. These were the words of Matthew Smith, who is a flexibility expert, and I was going through his middle split assessment, and afterwards he was super convinced that I'm able to get flat in one session. And why he had this conclusion, he's going to explain to you right now.
So we tested Theo's side split in a few different positions, and from this we knew he'd be able to get flat in pretty much one session. We tested his pancake position to see if he could roll the hip forward enough so that his bones wouldn't jam in the side split. Then we looked at his Taylor's pose, which is a good test to see where his adductors are at. And we looked at the active versus passive side split position. From this, he ticked all the boxes. And so it was a case of teaching his body how to figure out the coordination of getting into what is quite a technical flexibility position.
So how would you feel if someone would tell you, I'm going to put you into a middle split in one session? What happens to your mindset? I got super confused and was overwhelmed by the idea to just slide myself, my legs next to my body down, touching the floor with my balls. And I actually didn't believe that my body is possible to enter this position. So once he gave me the right tools and the explanation how to do it, and I gained a little bit more confidence, I was able to overcome these beliefs and managed to enter the position without any harm and struggles.
If you don't pass these assessment positions, that's fine and totally normal. What that means is you're going to have to focus on either things like the pancake position, Taylor's pose, work on building your strength in the range, opening your adductors range of motion, improving that external rotation, and so forth. There are many parts that go into the side split. But if you tick off all those boxes and you still can't do it, it's probably a coordination thing, in that you need to teach your body how to figure out how to enter this position in order to make progress. So sometimes it can be that you've got all the prerequisites, we just have to put all the pieces together. And in a case like Theo, that is what happened. So of course, not everyone's going to be able to get into the side split in one session. But if you tick off that pancake, Taylor's pose, and a good active versus passive position, once you get the technique right, this is how we do it. So we went into what's known as side split, contract, relax, antagonist, contract, relax. As Theo was going down into the side split, I cued him to make sure that he was tilting his hips really far forward, trying to get that anterior pelvic tilt. He was also keeping his chest high and arching his lower back. As he slid down, we didn't want to go directly down, but ever so slightly backwards so his hips were just behind the line of his heels. This would allow him to get into what is essentially the easiest side split position for most people. From here, what we did is he would go down to his position, make sure the technique is right for that hip alignment so that he didn't jam, and then he would push his feet into the floor. We would do this for 5 seconds, and then he would relax, breathe, and go a little bit deeper. But from here, what we did is antagonist contract, which means contract the opposite side. So instead of pushing down with the adductors on the inside of the leg, we lifted up with the abductor muscles, so abductors, on the outside of the leg. And so he tried to lift the feet off the floor whilst pushing his hips down. So what we've done here is we've got two opposite actions. We've got feet going down and then we've got feet coming up. And what we're doing is essentially wiggling the hip position to try and get that a little bit deeper over time. Like something stuck and jammed, you kind of wiggle it until you can get it through. Here, we're playing with that alignment, getting the hip forward, arched back, and then wiggling by contracting the feet down, relaxing, contracting the feet and lifting up, relaxing and going for rounds. After 3 sets, he touched the floor.
What does it feel like when you enter a middle split and you find yourself in this famous Shaolin position where your legs are on the side of your body and you actually touch down to the floor? To me, it was pretty overwhelming. But once I entered the position, I was just super happy. Still overwhelmed. I didn't know actually where to put my hands and what to do. And I counted for like 3 seconds to really make sure I entered this position. But yeah, afterwards, I felt a little bit sore. But the next day, everything was fine. I didn't have any pain or any problems.
Theo's training going forward is going to look quite different from this. Now he needs to get familiar with his position and then strengthen that range so that he doesn't need as much time to warm up to get there. The goal is to be able to access this in his air flares and other acrobatic movements that he does. And so we want to be able to get into this position without needing to warm up. That means we're going to have to build the strength in this range so that he can pull himself into position. This is not going to happen in one session. This is going to take weeks, months in order to build that capacity to be able to enter that position whenever he wants. Not everyone is as lucky as Theo and can get into the position in one session. Now, how long does the side split take to get? Well, that depends on your assessment results. Most people on average can probably get it in around 3 months. Some people are lucky and have all the prerequisites and can get it in 1 or 2 sessions, and other people have a lot more of the prerequisites to build up, and so it can take much longer. We're talking a year, maybe a little bit longer than that. However, you can test and find out where you should be.
Now, what can you get out of this video without just me showing off that I can enter a middle split? Actually, I have a recommendation by heart to go and reach out to Matt if you're interested in becoming better with your flexibility practice. So as we said, not everyone will be able to enter the middle split in one session, that's for sure. But for me, as I said, it was like a mental barrier, and the advice and the tips and tricks that Matt had were really profound and helped me to overcome my mental barrier. And I reached a position that I was never ever imagining to be able to enter. So if you're looking forward to become better with your flexibility, not even just middle split, but overall flexibility, Matt has a crazy flexibility toolkit that will help you to unlock your body.
It was amazing working with Theo. He's an incredible athlete, and you can see that he's put in the hard work to get this far. Literally all we had to do was put the coordination together so that he could access this side split range.